pressure at the border, a lot of other things that are going on that are just really have optimism waning in the country, despite the issues around the world. And certainly our thoughts and prayers are with the Ukrainians and our men and women, many from this area that are in the theater now. Thankfully, we've got great leadership and a great team in the state of Georgia that, as Stephen mentioned, we are the #1 state in the country for business yet again. But we did that because we did two things during the pandemic. We fought to protect lives and livelihoods. And I know you guys at the local level have done that. I appreciate the commissioners and the council members that are here. I appreciate Jim Proctor. Jim Proctor and I, we go way back even before politics. He is a great sheriff and has been a great friend. And I just appreciate your leadership, Sheriff. But when we got into COVID, I realized early on as a small business owner, both Marty and I knew this, because we've been doing that for over 35 years and still are today. We had to do all we could to protect lives against the virus. But we also had to remember, look, we got to protect livelihoods. We got to worry about people being able to make their house payment, buy groceries and medicine, and clothe their children, and pay for their truck or car payment. What's going to happen with mental health issues, physical health issues that we all were warning about, Dr. Toomey and I both, early in the pandemic. And that's why I never shuttered most businesses in our state. Many did to support what we were all doing to flatten the curve, stop the spread, build PPE, supply hospital bed capacity, build ventilators, and all the other things that everybody was helping chip in to do. But we also realized we had to protect livelihoods. And so, we were one of the last states to measurably close a few things to help us do that through that short period of time that it was designed to do. The problem was the national media and a lot of, so-called public health experts started saying we got to keep locked down forever, and that's impossible. And thankfully you had people that had common sense, that were small business owners and had been in that situation like Marty and I had been before on Friday night, barely paid all our people working for us, couldn't pay all our suppliers, and wondering what are we going to do? How are we going to survive this? This didn't happen one Friday night. It was Friday night after Friday night, month after month after month. That is a bad feeling, and I know, and she does too, because we've both been through that. And that's why we simply gave people a chance to live to fight another day by measuredly reopen those things that we had asked to sacrifice early on. And as you remember, as soon as I did that, I caught grief from the national media. I caught grief from the media in Atlanta. I caught grief from high-profile people all over the country. I caught grief from who will be my opponent again in November, that all said I was crazy for doing that and disagreed. They did the same thing when we started pushing to get our kids back in the classroom. But when you look at the data in the Trump administration, the data in the Biden administration, it says the same thing. It says our kids can be in the classroom. Doesn't say it's going to be easy. Doesn't say our school folks won't have a blip or two that they're going to have to deal with. But we left it up to the locals to make that decision, working with your leadership and your parents and your healthcare experts where you live. I don't think anybody in Georgia thinks that the decisions made by one person or the Capitol are always in their best interest at the local level. We have a very diverse state. You all know that probably better than most down here. And certainly nobody thinks those decisions need to be made at the White House or at the office of FDA or CDC. And that's what we did. So we pushed to get our schools back open. Well, I was criticized by all the same people when we did that. CNN was live in Jefferson City, first school district in the country to take our kids and put them back in school after the first wave came through. The same thing, when you look around the country, you literally had one person, the governor in different states, that were either letting you open your business, letting you go out and support those businesses, keeping your kids or getting your kids back in the classroom, or deciding whether you could go to church or your places of worship. We did not do that in Georgia. And as long as I'm governor, we will never close our places of worship or our churches. The other thing, Another thing that we've done and what we'll continue to do while I'm governor is support our men and women in law enforcement. We've seen many governments around the country that have made the decision to defund the police and not back their men and women in law enforcement. And because we're backing those men and women in law enforcement doesn't mean we shouldn't hold them accountable, just like we shouldn't be held accountable. But we cannot waver on the people that are on the front lines risking their lives every single day for us. And we're not going to do that in the state of Georgia. We made a strong statement last year by passing and signing legislation that keeps local governments from defunding the police. And that's what we're going to continue to do in our state. It's what makes us the greatest state in the country, I believe, to live, work, and raise our families. Because we've got a great economy. Our kids have been in the classroom. Our teachers and our educators are making them the workforce of the future, which is the #1 issue when it comes to economic development. It's why so many people are moving to Georgia, because we got good, hard-working people that are well-trained and ready to go to work. And they know that they're going to be in a stable, great business environment to do that. It's like Stephen was saying, we got the lowest unemployment rate in the history of our state at 2.6%. We've got the most people working in our state's history. We've got the least amount of people on the rolls since post 9/11. Last year, we had a record year for economic development, 379 projects that we worked in the governor's office and through the Department of Economic Development, working with local economic developers and local elected leaders all across the state. 74% of those projects, 74% of them were outside the 10 metro counties. We've done at least one project in 3 years, at least one project in 89% of the counties that have less than 50,000 people. So truly fulfilling my commitment to strengthen rural Georgia, all parts of rural Georgia, whether it's here in Camden County or anywhere else in the middle of our state or up in the mountains. We have been doing that. $11 billion of investment in a record year last year. Half the jobs with those projects were outside the 10 metro counties. This year, in just 6 months, we're at $9.8 billion worth of new investment or expansions in our state. A 52% increase in the number of jobs. In half the time that we did it last year, we're almost where we were last year. So we're going to have another record this year. And I know it makes for other problems, like everybody needs more help, but that's a good problem to have. And we're tackling that better than most, with our unemployment rate being, almost a full half a point below the record low of the Deal administration when I first came into office. So even though it's tough, we're doing very well. We got a lot of great things that we're going to finish strong on, and we've already accomplished this legislative session, and it's all because we have been open. We all have been resilient. When I say we all, I'm talking about the policymakers at the state level and the local level, but also you all, hardworking Georgians and your families that have been out there grinding through this pandemic every single day and being so resilient. Our revenues are good. I just signed a budget that Sheila and Stephen helped pass that is going to return $1 billion of your taxpayer money to you that we don't need. When's the last time you heard of When's the last time you heard of a state government that's sending money back because they have more than we need? Yesterday up in Darien, as soon as I could get the bill to me, I signed the 2-month moratorium on collecting the gas tax, which is anywhere from 28.5 to 32 cents a gallon, to help Georgians save at the pump for a couple of months to offset this rising. We are committed to working with the General Assembly and have been already. Hopefully in the next two to 3 weeks we'll be delivering more tax reform to keep money in your pocket versus sending it to the government, because we have seen this phenomenal growth. But make no mistake, my opponents want to take us in a different direction. Got one of them in the primary that's criticizing me for bringing 7,500 high-paying, precision manufacturing jobs to our state on a piece of property that's been marketed by the locals for over 15 years, that the county economic developers and the local governments did tax abatements for to lure this company. It's something that they wanted, that we supported them in. All the while, he was sending jobs to China in his business career. I've spent my business career creating jobs in Georgia, and I've spent my 3 years as governor bringing jobs to all parts of our state, just like I did in the private sector. I believe that's what Georgians want. My opponent, or soon-to-be opponent in the general election, would take our state in a drastically different direction. We literally would be one COVID variant away from more lockdowns, from our kids not being in school, from our churches being closed, and from our police and law enforcement being defunded. I don't think that's the leadership Georgians want. And that's why we are fighting with everything that we got every single day to save the soul of our state, in this great state that we live in, to raise our kids and our future generations. But we need you all in that fight with us. We cannot take this May 24th primary for granted. So when you leave, I would ask you guys, take a sign, take a bumper sticker, call your friends. When you go vote, take somebody with you. Marty said she used to tell people, get 5 of your friends to go vote when you do. She now tells people, get 50 or 500 of your friends to go vote. Because literally, this is a fight for the soul of our state. I think the good thing is now versus where we were in 2018, people realize that. Because they've seen, who the real Stacey Abrams is. And they've seen the real policies that she would embrace or that she's criticized me overdoing, like opening our economy, keep our kids in schools, and supporting our men and women in law enforcement. So to me, it's a very clear message. Our path is very clear, but it will not be easy. But make no mistake, we never thought it would be. And we've been preparing for this day. And we are glad you all are in the fight with us. I want to thank CB and Sugar and Bert and everybody else that helped host us today and help get the crowd here. We are just honored to be back in Camden County and St. Mary's. God bless you. Thanks. Good.